For 15 years, I've been privileged to host the world's most successful game show format. Tonight, we'll look back on some of the high drama, those big £1 million winners, and one major scandal. These are my favourite moments from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? To this nostalgic trip through our vast archives. In the summer of 1998, I was asked to be the host of a brand new ITV quiz called Cash Mountain. We made a tryout pilot show, but we wanted to make it more dramatic, somehow more intense. We changed the lighting, we changed all the music, and the title became Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And the rest, as they say, is history. It changed my life, and I'm very proud to say it changed a lot of other people's lives as well. More than 1,200 people have sat opposite me in this hot seat. We've given away nearly £60 million, and we've made 5 people instant millionaires. But that first show on September the 4th, 1998, none of us were at all sure if it was actually going to work.
ITV is to produce the first British game show with a prize of £1 million.
The biggest cash prize in British television history. For the show which could make you a millionaire.
It was headline-grabbing stuff when we announced our record-breaking £1 million jackpot prize, and you at home tuned in your millions. As I walked out for the very first time, I couldn't have imagined the massive impact we were about to make. Tonight and for the next 10 nights, you'll be watching British quiz show history. For the first time on UK TV, we have a top prize available of £1 million, and it could be won here tonight. Anyone could phone in for a chance to play for £1 million. Then 10 contestants competed in fastest finger first to get into the hot seat. And it was Graham Elwell who made television history by becoming the first ever contestant to play for £1 million. Here we join him ringing his granddad on £125,000.
I think I'll give me granddad a ring. See if he's got any idea.
On that first show, we had a heavily guarded £1 million in cash on the set in front of us. And when it came to phoning a friend, we used a cordless phone. Hi, it's Chris Tarrant from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on ITV. I know you're not near a television at the moment, but I've got your grandson, Graham. At the moment, he has just won £64,000.
That's nice.
Yes, it's quite nice, Grandad.
I'm going to take the money. Quiz, just there.
I have to say, I don't blame him at all. This gives me so much pleasure to give you a cheque for £64,000. Graham Elwell winning an impressive £64,000 as our first ever millionaire contestant. One of the great things about doing this show, and there are lots, no matter how long we did it, we could never predict how well somebody was actually going to do. The cocky ones who seemed to think they knew it all often came unstuck, and the quiet, unassuming ones sometimes walked away with vast sums of money. Now, one such laid-back, amiable guy was Ingram Wilcox. When he came in the studio, nobody really picked him out as a potential high flyer. He ended up doing really rather well. This is it, question number 15 of a possible 15.
Once you got to £1 million, it starts to feel a bit more serious than it had up until then. Which
boxer was famous for striking the gong in the introduction to J. Arthur Rank films? Bombardier Billy Wells, Freddie Mills, Terry Spinks, Don Cockle.
My children, of course, all advised me, don't take any chances with that £1 million question. And I tried to... What you have to do is go with your gut feelings, and that's what I did.
I'm pretty sure. But my children would never forgive me.
I was pretty sure of the answer to the £1 million question, although it might not have looked like it.
Freddie Mills was famous for this, that and the other. being found shot in a car, I think. Don Cockle, I remember him having a go at the world heavyweight and losing. Terry Spinks, similarly. I don't connect it with any of them, and Bombardier Belly Wells definitely rings the bell. He strikes the gong. No, I'll go. I will.
Final answer.
Bombardier Belly Wells.
We'll take a break.
Chris went for a break just after I'd given my answer, so I was left hanging, but fortunately that was one where I was pretty confident.
You just won £1 million!
The first thing that I bought that I could call an extravagance was a banker's lamp, you know, the kind with the green glass shade. I'd always wanted one. I promised myself that if I had the money, that's what I would get.
How cool was he? Ingram Wilcox, our fifth and most recent millionaire. Now, the American version of the show actually had the first contestant in the world to win $1 million. This is taxman John Carpenter looking terribly pleased with himself. Do you know, almost every day, in fact, make that every day for the last 15 years, someone has come up to me and said, Chris, do you want to phone a friend? Even the best contestants have relied on a friend on the other end of a phone to help them take home some really big money. Sometimes it went well and it cemented a lifelong friendship. Other times it went spectacularly wrong.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Paul McCartney wrote the theme song for which James Bond film?
Which Western character was played on screen by Jay Silverheels?
Which of these words means wickedness?
What's the first name, the real first name of American singer Garth Brooks? Is it Enos, Troil, Dilbert or Tregau? You've got 16 seconds. Enos, Troil, Dilbert or Tregau? 10 seconds, 9.
Anybody?
Hello? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello?
Hello?
Do you know?
He was a great choice, wasn't he?
Fantastic.
What a great friend he turned out to be.
Caroline, it was Live and Let Die. 100% definite.
100%?
Yep,
Are you quite sure?
definite.
Do you want to phone a friend?
C, Tonto.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Definite?
yep,
Honest?
yeah.
Really? Yeah? I'll go for it, yeah?
Yeah, best of luck, darling.
See you later.
Yeah, bye.
Topography, T-O-P-O-G-R-A-P-H-Y. Turbitude, T-U-R-P-I-T-U-D-E. Torpidity, T-O-R-P-I-D-I-T-Y. Or Turbituan, T-E-R-P-S-I-C-H-O-R-E-A-N.
What's the second one again?
T-U-R-P-I-T-U-D-E.
I think it's that.
Yes.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I think it's that.
Oh. It's amazing what you get done in 30 seconds. That's fantastic. One of my favourite phone-a-friend moments came when Jonathan Ross and his wife Jane were on the show.
I think the only one who know out about this, probably your dad might know. He travels a lot in Europe.
Yeah, my dad. OK, Dad, Alicante is on which Spanish coast? Is it Costa Brava, Costa Blanca, Costa de la Luz or Costa del Sol?
OK, can you just repeat that? The Alicante?
Yeah, which coast of Spain is it on, Alicante? Is it the Costa Brava, Costa Blanca, Costa de la Luz or Costa del Sol?
Come on, Dad.
Dad!
3 seconds, Dad.
Wake up,
Say
Stu.
something!
Dad. Dad.
Oh, bloody father!
Dad.
Annie put on a posh voice. He doesn't talk anything like that.
Still to come, we have celebrities in the hot seat, more £1 million winners, and a major fraud is uncovered.
A1 or Craig David.
Now, the fourth person to go all the way to our £1 million jackpot was one very cool customer. By sheer brilliance and a little bit of good luck, Pat Gibson managed to get to that terrifying, heart-stopping £1 million question with 2 of his 3 lifelines still intact. This is question number 15 of a possible 15. Which of these is not one of the American Triple Crown horse races?
Question came up about racing. I was pleased. I worked in a betting company, so I knew quite a bit about American racing. So I was fairly confident, but again, the stakes have now gone so high that just the thought of losing is just catastrophic.
Arlington Million, Belmont Stakes, Kentucky Derby, Preakness Stakes. You have 2 lifelines. It's worth £1 million.
I fancied I knew the answer to the question, but by now the drop was positively cliff-like. So I used the 50-50, got rid of 2 of them.
It's the one you think it is still there?
Yes, it is. I'm fairly confident.
You're a very calm man, Pat.
I'll use my phone a friend. It might be foolish not
to.
And then I decided to phone my friend, Mark, and put the question to him.
Hello?
Mark?
Yes, it is.
Hiya, it's Chris Tarrant here. Good evening.
Hiya, Chris.
Well, we're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I've got Pat here.
Yeah?
He's doing really quite well.
Great stuff.
Yeah, he's on £1 million.
Wow! Hey! Tell him to forget about that £10 that he owes me then until next week.
Well, only if you give him the right answer. If you give him the wrong answer and he goes for that, you cost him £468,000.
All right, Chris.
Yeah. Right, you ready for this?
Yep.
Right, the next voice here will be Pat. He will tell you the question and 2 possible answers. One of them is worth £1 million. Pat, lots of luck. You have 30 seconds. Your time starts now.
Okay.
Which of these is not one of the American Triple Crown horse races? The Arlington Million, the Kentucky Derby. Which of these is not one of the American Triple Crown horse races? The Arlington Million, the Kentucky Derby. 10 seconds.
It's the Arlington Million. I'm 90% certain on that.
Yes, it's the
Arlington Million.
Thank you, Mark. That's what I thought.
That's the British and Irish.
Thank you.
Are all your friends like this?
He came back with Arlington Million. I already thought it was Arlington Million, and I thought that's all my resources used. I thought it was the Arlington Million from when they first went up. It's the Preakness, Belmont in Kentucky are the American Triple Crown. The Arlington Million is not a Triple Crown race.
Final answer.
Final answer. There was a bit of a delay before it was announced that I was correct, and then all hell broke loose.
You've just won £1 million.
What are you worth?
Bloody hell.
£1 million!
That's tremendous.
You are so calm, man!
Thank you.
Fantastic!
I didn't buy half a horse or a piece of boat or anything. The biggest thing for me with the winnings is I went part-time and I worked week on, week off, and that was marvellous. I really appreciated that. So that made a big difference to my life.
On our celebrity charity specials, we have given away over £7.5 million in prize money to a vast array of worthy causes. It has been great having some of my all-time heroes here facing me. One of my favourites has to have been Paul McCartney. How cool was that, having Paul and his new wife, Heather, sitting over there? One thing I do remember saying afterwards was, what a lovely couple they made.
OK, I'm holding one of them in my hand.
Yeah.
I've got one hand
Right.
in each. Right, which
It's
one?
that one.
That was Charleston.
Charleston, right. That's what we're going with, Chris. We're going with Charleston. We just did the hands and I chose the thing.
Yeah. OK.
And if it's wrong, I really get it in the neck. Oh, no.
No, no.
Yes, yes.
I think let's go with Atlanta, only because I felt that at the beginning. You felt Little Rock, Atlanta.
Go on, let's go with Atlanta. We'll go with Atlanta, final answer.
Yeah.
It's the right answer!
Mathematical genius Carol Vorderman was the first brave celebrity to appear on the show for charity, and she did it all on her own. The Muslim era dates from the year in which Muhammad departed from Mecca to which city? Medina, Jerusalem, Damascus, Bethlehem. It's worth £8,000.
I don't know the answer. I get really nervous doing Millionaire, and I've done it twice. Once when it was recorded, because I was the first ever celebrity to do Millionaire, and that was easier because you had time to really think about it. You know, and somewhere at the back of your head you think, I know that answer. I'm going with Medina.
Final answer.
Correct. Yes, that is my final answer, Medina.
You just won £8,000!
When it's live and it's against the clock, you're just conscious of your strategy all the time. It's your strategy.
Rip Van...
Come on.
50-50.
Yeah, go Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle, final answer.
Oh!
No.
No, is it? It's
Oh,
not.
don't say that.
No.
It's the right answer. Shut up.
This is like, I mean, I'm not a footballer, but I was sitting with Sir Alex Ferguson and I thought, this is big match nerves I have here. This must be what it's like the night before a cup final.
Gallipoli, Mel Gibson was in the film.
Oh, indeed. That convinces me.
Yeah. Gallipoli.
Final answer.
Yeah.
The incentive of getting to the £1 million, the incentive to get to the final Wembley. You know, it's exactly the same scenario.
Should we go with C?
C, British.
I'll tell you what, we'll go with C, and if it's wrong, I'll match it so we make it the 64.
I think we're about as nervous as two kittens that are going to be drowned in public.
Can I say, I've done many TV shows over the years, Chris. This is the smallest glass of water I've ever been given. Well,
it's like being in the flashiest pub quiz you've ever been in your whole life. And that's exciting, because the next question's coming up, and you might know it, and then you're the hero. Or you might mess up.
You had £5,000?
Yep. Don't do this to me again. Oh, no.
It's time to get our checkbooks out. We've got to get our checkbooks out.
You've just lost £4,000.
I can't do this anymore.
There's a
I've got to
hint
go.
of
I've got to go. I can't.
There's a hint of
Please.
graveyard
I
food
can't
here.
do this anymore. I'm going to give your charity some money. I'm going to give my charity some money. Can we
The
please
right
go?
answer.
Come on. Come on. Please.
No, stay there.
No, I can't. I've got
Stay
to go.
there.
Come on.
The right answer is port.
I've got to go. I've got to go.
Yeah, we're going to go for T.E. Lawrence, please, Chris.
Final answer.
It's the final answer. If you say break, I'll kill you.
If you say we're coming back later, I'm going to knee you.
It's the right answer. With so much money at stake, it was inevitable that sooner or later somebody would try to beat the system, you know, give themselves a little advantage, all right, cheat. Getting away with cheating us out of £1 million was going to need a mastermind with a cunning plan and a genius accomplice. But luckily for us, it was Major Charles Ingram who had Neither of those things. On the 9th of September 2001, an unassuming major took his place in the hot seat. And what was about to unfold, nobody could have predicted. Right, this is Charles Ingram. He's a major. Up there in the audience, his wife, Diana. On his first night on the show, the major's display of general knowledge was surprisingly poor.
I really haven't got a Scoobies. I wasn't there, so...
Should have been.
Never heard of it.
It's the right answer. You got £4,000. Somehow he managed to get to £4,000, but used 2 lifelines to get there. Charles has got... Ah!
God, no.
Oh, God, no.
Should have come back tomorrow.
He went away and returned the following night with a new game plan involving his wife Diana and fellow fastest finger first contestant Tequin Whittock, who he'd met on a previous episode. The plan was that Whittock would signal correct answers with a cough.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Holbein. I think if I had to guess, and I can, I think I'd take cricket. I'm sure it's a hat. Am I sure? Yeah, hat. It's a hat.
The only hiccup came on the £32,000 question when both the Major and Whittock couldn't answer a question on pop music. Even after a 50-50, the Major is going to go for a wrong answer.
I think it's A1. I've just never heard of Craig David, so I think I'll go for A1.
That is until his wife Diana develops a nasty cough of her own.
A1 or Craig David.
Here comes the U-turn.
No, I'll go Craig David. Yeah.
Final answer.
I'm going to guess Craig David.
Final answer.
Final answer.
By the time the Major reached the £1 million question, alarm bells were ringing behind the scenes. And now the Major, his wife Diana, and their accomplice Whittock were being monitored closely. It's worth £1 million.
I'm not sure. However.
Charles, you haven't been sure since question number... All he needed to do was read through the options and wait for Whittock's coded cough.
I think it's a nanomole.
No cough there.
But it could be a gigabit.
No cough there either.
I don't think it's a megatron.
Neither does Whittock.
And I have to say, I don't think I've heard of a Google.
And there it is. The Major now has the £1 million answer.
I mean, by process of elimination, I actually think it's Google, but I don't know what a Google is. So.
And the rest of it is all acting.
I really do think it's a Google.
But you thought it was a nanomole. And you've never heard of a Google. And there's £1 million involved.
I know, but it's not a gigabit, nanomole, and megatron, and there's only 4 of them, so it must be Google.
The stakes are huge, and the Major wants to make one final check.
I'm sure it's Google.
And there it is.
I'm going to play Google. Yeah.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Charles, give me that check. £500,000. You no longer have that. You just won £1 million! The win was short-lived, and after a thorough investigation, his cheque was cancelled, and all 3 ended up in court and were found guilty of conspiring to cheat the show. So sadly, Major Charles Ingram didn't become our third £1 million winner. It is amazing when you watch it, and I tell you now, I had no idea that was happening. I was totally caught up with the drama of everything happening in this studio. Join us after the break for more of my favourite Millionaire moments. More £1 million winners and the global success of the show.
間違いだと100万になりますよ。ファイナルアンサー。
Welcome back to my my favourite moments from 15 years of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. When I started, I did not realise just how much drama sitting in that hot seat would create. Now, here's a really tense moment from 2001 where a guy called Robert Bridges has £500,000 at stake. Question number 15 for £1 million. Here it is, you've got one lifeline. Which scientific unit is named after an Italian nobleman? Pascal, ohm, volt, hertz.
I need the 50-50, Chris.
OK, computer, take away 2 wrong answers. Leave Robert the right answer and the 1 remaining wrong answer. One of those is worth £1 million.
I think it's volt.
If you're wrong, you lose 4.
Don't ask me why I think that. Chris, I'd like to play volt.
It's your call. You do not have to. There's nothing on my screen. You don't have to play. It's up to you.
That's my final answer.
It's the right answer. You just won 1. Robert Bridges becomes our 3rd £1 million winner. I have to tell you, the best feeling in the world, certainly for me, is when I've looked down and I've seen they've given the right answer and I'm about to tell them they have just won £1 million. It is the best buzz. Over the years, I have spent what sometimes has felt like an eternity waiting for some contestants to decide whether or not to commit to a final answer. Some took forever. It was the indecisive Bhav Patel's dithering on the £16,000 question that really put me through the ringer. A chukker is a period of playing time in which sport? Badminton, volleyball, polo, hockey.
I have not got the foggiest.
And you got no lifeline.
It's only money, innit? Polo looks good.
It's either Malaysia or Indonesia, but I'm not... My gut instinct, it is...
Jason had nothing to do with flying, did he? Is it worth gambling?
Polo looks very, very good.
Do you want to play? It's worth 16,000. You lose 7 if you're wrong, Bev, and I can't help you.
What the heck, hey? Let's go for it.
Final answer?
No, it's not a final answer. I'm going to take the money.
Take no.
No idea. I'll go for...
Let's hope she doesn't kill me. I'm going to play.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Polo.
8,000 is a lot of money, but 16,000 is even better.
About double, really.
Yeah. Polo. I'm gonna have to take the money, mate. I'm not. Polo, go, final answer. That's it. Final answer, polo. Polo, final answer.
It's the right answer, you just won 16,000! Oh, that's the fastest final answer we've ever had. The show has played in 120 countries around the world, and they all look exactly the same. If ever you see one, it looks exactly like this one. As the show launched in the UK first, that sadly meant that all the other hosts had to copy me. The same catchphrases, the same gormless facial expression, and the same cliff-hanging waits over the commercial break.
One of those is worth £125,000. Find out which in a couple of minutes after the break.
Este răspunsul care aduce publicitate. Ne întoarcem.
জানি না অডিয়েন্সের উত্তর ঠিক কিনা কম্পিউটার সাহেব ঠিক লক করেছে কিনা দেখে নেব ব্রেকের পর
The Venezuelan host went one better. He created his own commercial break.
Centro Silver, el primer y único multivitamínico especialmente formulado para mayores de 50 años.
Final answer.
Final answer.
¿Su respuesta final?
Respuesta final.
الإجابة رقم 3 4 سنوات
كل 4 سنوات؟
نعم.
متأكد؟
نعم.
جواب نهائي؟
نهائي.
The Chilean host makes sure nobody nods off while he's on the telly.
Vamos a ver. Sí, señor. Es Agustín.
But even he's not a patch on my favourite international version of me, Japan's Mino Monta, who truly is the master of suspense.
Final answer.
Final answer.
The second person to win £1 million here was a teacher, a guy called David Edwards, in the year 2001. Now, he'd reached a hard-earned £500,000, but that had taken him all his lifelines to get there, and I expected him to, understandably, take the money and run. But then he saw the question. If you planted the seeds of Quercus robur, what would grow?
When the final question came up, I was quite confident that I knew the answer. I felt less confident when I saw the 4 alternatives because they were almost simpler than I was expecting.
Trees, flowers, vegetables, grain.
Quercus is a type of tree, Chris. I just hope that it doesn't cover the others as well. Certainly not vegetables, certainly not grain. I don't think flowers. I certainly know of trees that have got the botanical name Quercus. I felt calm and collected all the way through, even on that question. No, it was, I felt frighteningly calm. It was rather like the sort of positive energy you get if you're playing an important sports match. I'm going to go for it.
Sure, hang on. Yes, can we just calm down, please, audience? You're going to play?
I'm going to play.
You're risking £500,000.
Oh, I know. And I know just the friend I would have phoned to find out as well. But...
Final answer.
You had £500,000, you went for trees. If you'd gone for flowers, you'd have just lost £468,000. If you'd gone for vegetables, you'd have just lost £468,000. If you'd gone for grain, and you didn't think it could possibly be grain, if you'd gone for grain, you just have lost £460,000.
There's no doubt being on Millionaire changed my life. On the salary I finished on, I would have had to have worked for another 40 years to make the quantity that I got from that cheque. So, it changed our lives, yeah.
Still to come, some life-changing moments.
Bury the trowel, I won 50,000.
And the first time I handed over £1 million. Welcome back. We're looking through some of my favourite moments of the past 15 years of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It doesn't take £1 million to change somebody's life. We've had many contestants where much smaller wins have made a profound difference to their lives, and those moments, to me, have been the most heartwarming and moving.
I won £150,000.
All my dreams had come true.
It's been incredible.
That is life-changing money.
You just won £50,000.
I really didn't believe that I had it in me to win the money. I still cry when I watch it now because it has totally changed my life. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Bury the trowel, I won 50,000.
You haven't,
My husband was working in the building trade and had an arthritic spine, which obviously was very painful in all weathers because he was a bricklayer and bending over all day. But this made him retire overnight.
When I was on the show, actually, I was 8 weeks pregnant.
If you'd said Sheffield, you would have just lost £9,000.
I'm so glad. I didn't
risk it. I didn't risk it. Oh, my God.
Right, winning a lovely amount of money and having my beautiful baby daughter, it's been incredible. When Chris handed me a cheque for £10,000, that was almost my entire year's salary, so it meant I could take a year off to spend with my daughter.
You just won £150,000.
Chris has already given you a cheque and taken it away. And to have that cheque in your hand is fantastic. I think the most extravagant thing I did with the money was to buy a helicopter. I didn't think I would ever be able to afford to own my own.
You're never going to give me a cheque for 75.
I think you'll find I am. You just won £75,000.
I could pay off my house, which was amazing. And also, it gave me the resources to set up my own company.
I don't think there was a dry eye in the house when Dawn Hawkins came on. This was the very definition of life-changing.
Being on Millionaire was one of the most incredible days of my life.
You'd like to get the specific amount of money you'd like tonight for a very specific purpose.
Yes.
And it's to see your son, isn't it?
It is.
And you haven't seen for?
45 years. He was 6 weeks old when he was taken from me and adopted.
And he then ended up in Australia.
Yes.
So he can't afford to come here.
Yeah.
The moment you can't afford to go there.
Nope.
You should have Glyn on the line from Brisbane at this moment.
No.
Hello, Mum.
Hello, darling. I'm going home with 1,000.
Oh, you could stay a while. You just won 2,000. It's the right answer. You got £20,000. You just won £50,000. You just won £75,000.
Oh, my goodness! Winning the money has meant I could go and see my son. I've paid my mortgage. I've been on a holiday with my husband, and life is going to be so much easier.
Being at home for a year has meant I can be the mum I wanted to be.
I can't thank Millionaire enough for giving me another 2 years of retirement with him.
I still can't believe I've been in that hot seat. I still can't believe it's true. Honestly. Have I really been in that chair? Did I really win that money?
It's the same life, but it's more fun.
Now, there is only one way to end this show, and that's with the splendid Judith Keppel. She became our first ever £1 million winner. And people still come up to Judith in the street and touch her for luck. And this is why. Anthony Eden, Alec Douglas Hume, Harold Macmillan, Winston Churchill. That's the right order. Now, 8 people left. Let's see who got it right. These got it right. Only one. She was fastest. She was the only one. In 8 seconds, Judith Keppel.
I remember doing the fingers on the buzzers, and the only reason I got on was because nobody else knew the answers. And I took 8 seconds with my answer.
Which king was married to Eleanor of Aquitaine? Henry I, Henry II, Richard I, Henry V.
The music is the thing that really was exciting. I remember thinking of the music as it was a help to me at the time because it was like a heartbeat and it kind of matched my beating heart.
I am fairly sure it is Henry II.
Can you afford to lose £468,000?
What can anybody? I think it's worth going for.
I remember before I went on the show, I asked Chris, what happens if I faint or what happens if I'm sick? And he treated him as if I was kind of lunatic from then on. Mad woman, what is she talking about? But, I mean, it seemed to me quite real because I was very nervous.
It's up to you.
I'm going to say Henry II.
Final answer.
Yep, final answer.
One of those 4 is worth £1 million. 3 of them would cost Judith Keppel £468,000. Find out what the right answer is in a couple of minutes.
When you went for the advert break on the £1 million question, I was absolutely not sure that I'd got it. I was not sure. But on the other hand, a little bit of me thought, you know, he can't go away and then come back and tell me I haven't got it. But I didn't know. I didn't know.
You've just won £1 million! You are amazing! £1 million.
I think my life was changed hugely by being on that show.
I was going to think we'd never ever show this. Have a look at this. Pay Judith Keppel £1 million. Look at that. So that's it. 15 years of my life, 15 years of your lives, and literally thousands of lives changed for the better, something we're all incredibly proud of. I hope you've enjoyed it all as much as I have. I've had the best time. I'd like to thank everybody involved in the show over the years, all 1,200 of you who've come on the show and sat there since 1998. And, of course, all of you for watching and playing along at home in your millions. Thank you, and good night from all of us on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? OK, everybody, good luck. We're going in. Hiya, it's Chris Tarrant here on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Good evening.
You're joking.
It was a bit of a... Well, it was a bit of a... One of those is worth 500,000. We don't want to give you that. We don't want to give you that.
Have it back then.
Oh, all right. If you haven't got a clue, you might as well just wibble, dibble, dibble. You won't, just be positive. I'm afraid, Bill, you join a very small band of people, you go home with nothing at all. I can't believe you've done that. Josie, watch my lips. You just won. 64.
And that was Chris's final answer. Next tonight on his TV, a wedding with one big hitch and a registrar who turns detective in the final episode of Births, Deaths and Marriages. That's after the break.